Howard University is making headlines. And before we even go deep into this, first and foremost, this is a discussion. We are not experts. You are an HBCU alum, so let me put that out there so you know your experience. I did go to Fort Valley State for 1 full year, and they still should give me an honorary degree. Shouts out to the Wildcats. Anyway.
No, all jokes aside, you probably should now with all what you've done, yeah.
Right, but before we get into that, we're coming from lived experience too. So let's be clear about that. But they're making headlines not for the best reasons. Students are speaking out about surprise tuition bills and asking real questions about where the money is going. One of the biggest things that we've talked about consistently throughout this entire season is just the lack of resources and just money in general, especially when we started talking about HBCU college football and all of that. But now we're talking about academics here, like housing, tuition. Like if the students are asking where the money is, like, is that something where universities are not making the mark and being transparent about where the money is going?
I mean, I think it's such a multi-layered experience. Like I said, I went to Tennessee, like you mentioned, I went to Tennessee State University, HBCU, and we have our whole situation with like money, and this because like the state has shorted us money because you had two different land grant things that happened with PWIs and HBCUs that happened back in the 1800s, and that was designed to allocate money from the state level to different universities, and for this whole past century, we haven't been getting our money. We like shorted $9 figures.
$1 trillion.
Right, 9 figures, and if not more. And when you talk about all that money that we should have, that goes to resources on campus. And so then you have a shortfall. But I think also you have the alumni network. Like when you go to school, you graduate, you have the donors, you have the boosters that these other schools have. But then you just have that dearth of wealth. I think black people only have like 1.4% of the wealth that white people have, even though we 14.2-ish% of the population. Right. That's a big difference. And you talk about the wealth accumulation, because you can only give back to your school if you have extra wealth to give back to school.
Well, I mean, we see a lot of people flossing now, so it's kind of like you can give up paying for a bag or two, and
people be flossing, but they shouldn't be flossing. Some people, they supposed to pay a light bill, but they put the light bill on Klarna and then went and bought a Gucci bag, and it's like
Afterpay.
Right, exactly. He's like, chief.
Right, but NBC reported the student complaints about unexpected tuition increases and the lack of transparency. I will say that this past weekend, just by default, I have seen the most Howard students like on TikTok explaining what they're going through, what they're needing, all of the things. Matter of fact, there was a young lady, like if we're making this about HBCUs abroad, there's a young lady that's at Spelman, shouts out to Taylor, who is raising funds for her senior year. She needs to take care of some, housing related things and things like that. And like I amplified her GoFundMe and all the things. At this point, you did point out like the alumni network, right? Like how can we have a larger conversation about the financial strain at HBCUs and how funding compares to predominantly white institutions, but also get our alumni to kind of donate more or figure out ways to pour into these students to make sure that from year to year, we're not hearing more of these stories. Because to me, I feel like this is a huge influx at this point, right? That a lot of people are literally online saying what they need, and people are trying to give $5, $10, $20 where they can, but everybody's struggling, right? So it's kind of like, how do we help the students and make sure that they can get their degrees or housing that they need, and then also take care of ourselves?
Yeah, I think some of it is also related to kind of what we talked about last week with the Ralph Lauren and the Actively Black, that whole deal, like different Black-owned businesses. I think that we have to also be cognizant of how we approach Black-owned businesses, because a lot of times we approach Black-owned business with a level of like perfection, like, oh, this went wrong, like, oh, that's why I don't support Black-owned business.
So you're saying that we're doing that with HBCUs?
No, what I'm saying is like if we have more like successful Black-owned businesses, maybe some of them like have like some like different like group thing where they're giving back to like the HBCU
so
they
some
went
of these
to,
Black
like that.
Millionaires need to be giving some money consistently.
I mean, definitely shout out to what's his name that paid for
Smith.
Robert Smith. Robert Smith, he paid for like a whole
Them babies came out of there with no debt.
Exactly, that's a good look.
And it's like if you have the ability to do that, you need to do that. Like it's almost like, I know that there was like this announcement of there's going to be a soon-to-be trillionaire, but the fact is like, how do you have that? How have you been able to accumulate that much money to where you're not giving back enough or equal, or because like even like what's her name, Mackenzie, the lady that was married to Bezos, her.
Oh, Mackenzie Bezos.
She gives out it almost at max, like as much money as she has made or she has come out of that divorce or what have you, in donations. And to me, I'm like, where are our people that are doing that, right? Like,
yeah. I think she's planning to give away like half of her fortune that she got, like I think like 40-something billion. Half of it she trying to give away. So you know,
and I just would like to see more of us like that have the resources, have the money. Because also another thing is even if you don't want to give money directly, like towards scholarships or towards, you know, tuition, housing has always been a consistent issue with our HBCU students and things like that. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, but it's, like I said, it's a multi-layered thing that, you know, I mean, we could really go deep down the rabbit hole